All right, hey everybody, nerds drink whiskey. This time, the next two episodes, we're going to be reviewing or sampling Old Forester Bottled in Bond. For those of you who haven't been following our past episodes, Bottled in Bond is a federal classification that is, it's one distillation season, one distillery, and about 4 years, 4 years minimum, and it, what is it?
Single batch.
Yeah, and it's 4 years minimum, I think.
Yeah, 4 years.
100 proof, so it's not as watered down as a lot of the whiskeys out there. Did I miss anything or say anything wrong?
Those are the salient points.
Okay, yeah, and I'm sure if I made a mistake, the commenters will definitely let me know. They always do. So, but this episode, we're going to kind of get nerdy while we start sampling the Old Forester and discuss the Marvel and DC movie world, cinematic universe, and the connection between them now. With James Gunn. There has been, since we last talked about this, there has definitely been an update. James Gunn, for those of you who don't know, was fired by Disney for doing the Guardians of the Galaxy series. They pretty much destroyed the Guardians of the Galaxy series by firing James Gunn. Disney pretty much couldn't backtrack once they did it without losing face. So DC decided to pick James Gunn up and say, hey, why don't you take over our Suicide Squad series? Because, well, nobody really cares about Suicide Squad, and we'd like them to care about Suicide Squad. So now I think people care about Suicide Squad more than they ever did before because James Gunn is taking control of it.
Very, very smart move for DC to do this. And it's the only hope Suicide Squad has, because that movie was terrible.
I didn't even know there was a sequel until they announced James Gunn was going to be heading it.
Yeah, so so I think Warner Brothers is the one that's in charge of that. And I mean, when you can have Will Smith in a movie and nobody cares, somebody's really messed up.
I cared that he was not in. I mean, it probably didn't matter in the long run, but he ended up doing Suicide Squad instead of Independence Day because of scheduling conflicts. So I cared, but for the wrong reasons.
I mean, but that's the thing, is like, I mean, Will Smith being in it should have gotten it more respect or attention than it did, and just everybody kind of responded with a big old meh. And I think now, I mean, especially, can you imagine what's going to happen to James Gunn's future paychecks if suddenly Suicide Squad 2 does, like, say, double what Suicide Squad 1 did? You know, if there is a definite increase in box office between the two, James Gunn is going to suddenly be extremely expensive.
Well, if you really think about it, I mean, with James Gunn now at the helm of the idea of Suicide Squad 2, that is quite possible. The last one, was, everybody thought that, oh my God, they're actually bringing in, the band of misfits, the Suicide Squad, and they're making a good movie out of it. And it turned out to kind of flop, at least to a certain point. At least in my opinion, a lot of people weren't a big fan of, at least a lot of people that I talked to, they weren't big fans of, say, for example, Will Smith being Deadshot. They weren't entirely real big on Margot Robbie being Harley Quinn. But at the same time, it had its good moments and its bad moments to it.
What was the good moment?
What's that?
What was the good moment?
Now, on speaking of Harley Quinn, they are doing an animated series. And instead of having Margot Robbie, instead of Margot Robbie doing the voice, they're having Kaylee Cuoco from Big Bang Theory do the voice.
I don't watch that, so
I thought that was a little bit of a. I don't mind Kaylee Cuoco, but I think that's kind of a slap in the face to Margot Robbie.
Do you know
kind of is.
Did they offer her the job and she turned it down, or they just skipped over her entirely? Because it's entirely possible that that's not something she wanted to do either.
Yeah,
or they
sure,
weren't
sure.
willing to offer the amount of money.
Right.
She's
cheaper
bigger than that.
Even though Kaylee Coco does make a lot of money with Big Bang Theory, she now needs to have a career after that, and so she may have been cheaper than Margot Robbie to return to that role. We also have the possible destruction of the annihilation of the Marvel Netflix universe. So they've already canceled, as of the recording of this, we're recording this on October 27th. As of the recording of this, we've canceled Iron Fist, which I don't think a lot of people were too surprised by.
Yeah.
But a lot of people were really surprised when they canceled Luke Cage. And there is now a rumor going around that Daredevil is already canceled. So,
I hope not.
I don't know, what's your guys' thoughts?
Well, Daredevil's great. I don't know why they would cancel it, because that show is just, it's on point. I never cared about Daredevil until this show came out, and it's just proof, like Iron Man or Captain America, how good writing can make you like a character you didn't care about in the first place. I just finished the 3rd season. I still think it's great. They did wrap it up in a way that, without giving away spoilers, but they wrapped it up in a way that they could easily go on and not have any more episodes, and it would feel completed. But they did set it up also if they want to do more episodes.
So I'm glad you don't give any spoilers, because some of us are only on halfway through season 2 of Daredevil. But I have finished Luke Cage. I did just finish watching Luke Cage, and I got to say that the way they were doing that had a tone, had a feel that no other Marvel or DC entity really was able to capture. There was probably the most eclectic music selection in Luke Cage. They had a lot of like 60s and 70s style music in there. And it was just the whole vibe of the show was so unique. I think canceling that show, and even if he comes back as guest appearance, even if it's the same actor who I really do like in that role, I think him not having his own show is I think very, very going to have a very negative effect on the Netflix Marvel universe.
It might. To me, the show was all right. I watched them all. I really didn't plan on watching another season if it came out, but it was all right. It had this feeling of kind of being in the 70s, that kind of vibe, with the actors, the scenes, and all that. It wasn't bad at all. It wasn't necessarily my thing, but it's not really supposed to be viewed as a superhero movie. I mean, it had that element, but...
And that's why it had I think it had kind of a unique feel within the universe, within the big picture of it all. It definitely added something that there's definitely like a vacant kind of, there's a puzzle piece missing now, it seems.
And do you know if they're continuing the Defenders?
Defenders, from what I understand, I don't know if it's been officially canceled, but it was, they did say that it's, there's no plans again. So, and a lot of people were talking about bringing them back as heroes for hire, but the problem is, and this is the biggest rumor, is that Disney has basically kind of blocked Marvel from really moving forward, Netflix from really moving forward, even though they have the legal rights to those characters, because they can't have, a guest spot from Tom Hiddleston, because they can't have a guest spot from
right, they can't tie into the larger Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas
so they're not letting any of those characters cross over, and so because you don't have those really high-profile guest spots, Netflix is having a real hard time getting people excited about it and getting social media to talk about it. And since Netflix doesn't release ratings or downloads or viewers in any way, the only way that the press has to guess metrics, the only metric we have is social media engagement, and pretty much every time social media engagement is down on a season when it airs, if there is a lower social media engagement, almost always that show then gets canceled right afterwards. And Daredevil, the social media engagement is way down. So they think that because of those, there's nothing for social media to talk about, whether it's press or whether it's just fans on Twitter or Facebook. There's nothing for people to talk about. They don't have any high-profile guests. So that's really hurting the show, and they're kind of sabotaging Netflix's Marvel universe by holding those crossovers back.
The other thing I'm actually worried about is like, things like, we've noticed kind of, the downfall of what almost seems like pretty much the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe when it comes to the Netflix brand, other than, the movies that they release for them to actually stream, stuff like that. But the one I have noticed hasn't really gone anywhere yet, but I'm wondering if they're going to, if they are getting rid of most of the Netflix series from Marvel, and at least would be my favorite would be The Punisher. That would be a major blow, because the way that they made the Punisher TV series was just so very well done that I wouldn't want that to go away for the life of me.
And let's face it, when they announced that, oh, by the way, we're going to reboot The Punisher again, I think everybody kind of went, yay. But then they saw what they did with it, and it was like, okay, now we care.
Exactly.
Netflix did such an amazing job at that. They made us care when we really didn't.
The Punisher is the only one I've actually watched of all those. So yeah, I really love the way they did the reboot on The Punisher. The one thing that I have, like I said, I haven't watched Luke Cage or Iron Fist or Daredevil or any of their other ones, but from The Punisher and from what I've got the feel is they don't feel like superheroes. They're extraordinary people in extraordinary circumstances, but like the Punisher's a guy from the military who is good at shooting people and beating people up.
Has no powers, absolutely no powers.
Right,
He's
no
Batman without.
He has no superpowers, just really good training.
Right, and saying, and it's like, that was, he was on par, he's, what do you call it, Batman on the cheap.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Batman doesn't use guns or any of that, but, still.
I was going to say, he's Batman that does kill.
Right. But, so because of that, I don't know if, because they don't feel like superheroes so much, they're competing with a lot of other shows that aren't trying to be superheroes. They're just trying to be people with extraordinary abilities and extraordinary circumstances. So you've got, crime shows and cop shows and other shows where these people are, fighting bad guys and all that kind of stuff without trying to be a superhero, with the same, like each Marvel series has its own kind of core issue that they're dealing with. So the Punisher was PTSD, Jessica Jones was the sexual assault and women's stuff, and that was one of the reasons why Iron Fist fell flat, was it didn't have one of those. But you've got that, they're competing in that space with a bunch of other shows that also do that, and now they're not all that special because they're not really superheroes, they're just...
Luke Cage is the only one that actually has a superpower, really.
Well, Jessica Jones and Daredevil both have superpowers, and
Daredevil does?
Yeah, he basically his origin story is when he was a kid, he got into an accident where these barrels of whatever toxic waste blinded him, but it heightened all of his other senses. Yeah. And
I just thought that was normal. This normal story of somebody that's blind
has super
has heightened
hearing and
senses.
super smell, and
So it's like what happens normally to somebody when they have one sense dulled, that the other senses go up,
in an
but that
extreme
plus
instance,
10. Okay. All right, yeah. So it's I don't know. Do you guys think that the Marvel, the Netflix Marvel universe is going away, and do you think Disney is sabotaging it?
that wouldn't surprise me. It very well might be. We'll see. Who knows? Electra Assassin's supposed to be released or being made or whatever. I haven't heard anything on that in a while. We'll see if it still happens. Punisher did really well. It's supposed to come out with another one. Yeah,
I mean, these have a fairly, I mean, in nowadays with our rapid media cycle, there's a, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if they recycle these characters and free up money for other projects. Yeah, if they've got good ideas for things to spend that money on, it wouldn't surprise me.
Do you think that if they kill off the Netflix Marvel universe, do you think that those characters will end up on the Disney streaming shows? And if so, do you think the actors will return as those characters?
I wouldn't bet the actors would, but it wouldn't surprise me if certain ones that did well showed up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure if you get some ensemble cast, kind of series, they'll pull from, oh, well, Luke Cage, no one knew about him before, but now we can throw him on there because that's a name that people have heard.
Okay, real quick, we're going to stick our necks out. All I need is a yay or nay as we go down, just as we close out this episode. Will Suicide Squad 2 do better box office than Suicide Squad 1? What say you? Yay or nay?
For various reasons, but that's a hard series to say, but I don't know.
Yay or nay? Come on.
I'm gonna go nay.
I'm hoping it's a yay, but that's a slim hope.
I'd like to see it be a yay, so I'll say with James Gunn attached, yay.
Okay, I'm going to say yay. So we got yay, 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 and we got nay.
I think the first one damaged the series so bad that it will not do all that well.
All right, so we're gonna clip this episode. We're gonna take that clip and we're gonna put it into an episode 1 year from now when it comes out, and we'll see.
Prove them all wrong.
We'll see if Ed proves us all wrong.
Or do we finally shut Ed up for good?
There's no shutting me up.
All right, so next week we're going to be giving our opinion on Old Forester Bottled in Bond. Like we said, your local watering hole probably does not have this, so you got to come by Doggers in Yelm, sample it, and then let us know in the comments what you think of it, and give us your review. And but you got to come by and get a shot of it down at Doggers in Yelm, and it's a lot cheaper than if you buy the bottle yourself. So but anyways, and our Christmas party is December 8th. It's going to be the nerdiest themed whiskeys we can find. So if you have a really nerdy themed whiskey that you think we should cover on our December 8th Christmas party, let us know in the comments. And we will not only have our shot glasses for free, not only have our lowball glasses for free, but we will also have free t-shirts for everyone on our December 8th show. So coming down to Doggers, plan to come down to Doggers on December 8th at 1 p.m. and join in on our Christmas party. So see you next week with more Nerds Drink Whiskey.